It's a game day episode of Boy Green Daily. New York Jets, New Orleans Saints. Win? Tanking? What are we talking about? I don't know. But we also have our NFL insider extraordinaire, Matt Lombardo, to talk about it too. Boy Green Daily starts now.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Let's go!
Put your seatbelts on. Get ready for the ride. We're the freaking New York Jets. We're built for this shit.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily. This is, in fact, a daily New York Jets video show that's also available wherever you get your podcast. Shout out to the people watching live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. It's game day. I appreciate them all the same. I was talking with my guest before the show about, playoffs would be cool. I have not experienced that in any of my podcasting. My Jets audio-only podcast started in like 2011, so didn't do it then. And then now, in the video world, we have not talked about it. But I appreciate them all the same. It's always an honor to be able to talk Jets every day on this platform. I see we have a bunch of memberships and things of that nature. We'll get to those here in just a second. But if you're coming on it on YouTube, hit that like button, baby. Let's do it. Let's go to our special guest. We have a special link in the YouTube description down below. More on that in just a second. Our NFL insider joins us, and will continue to join us for every gosh darn game day episode the rest of the season. It is none other than Matt Lombardo, as we are 4 days from Christmas. Happy holidays, Matt Lombardo.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and to Jets fans, this is almost like Christmas Eve. Couple more games, and then it's Christmas for the Jets. With all those draft picks, all that cap space, it's the holiday season for everybody, Paul.
It sure is. So let's get to, apparently there's some holiday giving happening here in the comment section. So let's get to some of that. First off, Mother effing Chew, baby. He hit the re-sign button. He's not waiting for a membership to be gifted to him. He's like, hey, buddy, I'm going to take that baby right by the haunches. Here we go. Thank you to MFC, Mother effing Chew, for hitting that. That is 9 raffle tickets for a guy, MFC. Let's go back to the gifting train and see what else is on here, because I see, yes, let's add another raffle ticket because MFC re-signed and is giving one to the audience. Let's make that 10 raffle tickets, baby, and I'll read that new member to the Boy Green Coffee Club in just a second because... let me get my spectacles here. What in the name of everything that's holy? Matt Lombardo!
Yeah, I've been coming on every week, and you welcome me into your home to hang out with your people. And I hadn't realized till I went to look at something on your YouTube channel that I was not yet a Coffee Club member. I need to fix that today. So we did that today, and there might be... later in the week, a Christmas gift coming for one of your fine followers, listeners, and viewers as well.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, Matt Lombardo. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Appreciate that very much. You do have a raffle ticket for our contest. Maybe you'll have something under the Christmas tree. We'll see what happens there in a little bit. We've got a lot to get to. Again, it is Jets Saints game day, and there's a lot of stuff happening. But there is some news in Jets world, which is sort of sad. But I just did a quick YouTube short about it before the show started. Our kicker, Nick Folk hero. He's 41 years old. And Rich Cimini of ESPN wrote in a column this morning that he will be pondering and is pondering retirement, which is, there's nostalgic stuff with Nick Folk because he was here the last time the Jets went to the playoffs. It's been 15 years since they went. He returned this offseason and made a comeback. He's having the second best year of his career. He has a 96.2% conversion rate. That's insane. And over the last 3 years for Nick Folk heading into today's game, he's made 75 of 78 field goals. He has the best conversion rate in the NFL. So if Nick Folk decides to hang him up, it won't be because he can't do it anymore. It'll be because he wants to spend more time with his family or what have you. But I just wanted to give a big salute default hero with that news coming out this morning. And because on Friday, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to spit out my eggnog. I'm like, sometimes NFL teams work out players on random days. They're like, okay. I said, why the hell are the Jets working out 4 kickers, a punter, and a long snap? I'm like, does this mean something? We were worried a couple of days ago because on the Jets injury report, there wasn't an injury for their kicker or their punter or their long snapper. So what did this all mean? Now with this news, it sort of makes sense that Jets may be doing some additional homework and making sure that they're ready just in case that happens. Folks, you can rest easy that Austin McNamara's under contract, our superstar punter, our long snapper's under contract for a couple of years. So we're all good there. But Nick Folk, I had to start there, Matt Lombardo. Nick Folk, tried and true, who's played all across the league, former Pro Bowler, former Aaron Glenn teammate at the beginning of his career, all over the place. It's crazy, but it could be the end for Nick Folk, Matt.
It could be, and sometimes it's just great to go out on top on your own terms. And having the kind of season, the kind of 2-year stretch that Nick Folk is having, salute to him. If he's financially set up to the point where this is the time to walk away and he feels like it's best to his family, congratulations on a great career and everything moving forward. And from the Jets' perspective, why not? If you have this opportunity to do some advanced work on some of the free agent kickers who are currently available, why not get them into your building, kick a few field goals, put them through a workout so that come March, if you need to go kicker shopping, hey, this guy, we don't have tape on this guy because he's not playing. Can he be someone we sign as a camp body for competition? Can he be a guy that we discover? So smart use of time and resources for the Jets, who have good reason to be looking ahead to the offseason.
That's true, and we're going to get to that next. There's 2 things here. First off, for Jet fans that are worried about losing Nick Folk, who is nostalgic and also has been terrific this year, if you could trust anyone to potentially replace him, you may want to trust that Chris Banjo guy who's been a special teams coordinator this season for the New York Jets. So if anyone can replace Nick Folk, it'll be Chris Banjo. But you mentioned the offseason coming up. That's the additional nugget I want to get to here on the program, because last night, and sorry to my father, who may be watching the show right now, cover your eyes. Last night, the Dallas Cowboys were eliminated from the playoffs, which means, folks, here is how that impacts the Jets. With the Cowboys officially out of the playoffs, this guarantees the Jets will have an additional top 50 pick in the 2026 NFL draft. Here is currently, this is going to change with results today, but here's currently where the Jets stand. They have 4 picks in the top 50. They have the 5th overall pick right now. The 18th overall pick, that's the Indianapolis Colts first rounder they traded for. The 36th overall pick, that's their own pick. And the 46th overall pick, which is the second round pick they acquired from Dallas. So the Jets are going to have plenty of ammo to do all kinds of things moving forward. But with them, Dallas being eliminated from the playoffs, you could start to see, because if playoffs are possible, obviously the pick could have been much later in the second round if they make some sort of a run or something. Now that's officially over. So another top 50 pick here for the Jets. Matt, it looks like this team's going to be in a pretty good position for that offseason we're talking about.
Yeah, not to mention the 3 first-round picks in 2027. So there's plenty of ammunition if they need to go all in to jump a spot or 2 to move up and get Fernando Mendoza, or if they feel like they can sit pat and draft Dante Moore at number 2 or number 3, wherever the chips may fall, then you can move around the board to build around him. So they have all the optionality in the world. And you and I were talking about how there's only 3 more Sundays where the Jets are going to be playing games. And I think that, my advice to you as your friend and your colleague, and to the Coffee Club members who tune in every week, is it's time to flip the switch. It's time to view the offseason, the next 2 years, as the Jets season, because they're built to dominate. They have over $96 million in cap space going into this offseason. It's the second most cap space in the NFL. We've talked about the draft capital over the next 2 years. You look around, there is potential for them to have the kind of quick turnarounds that we're seeing in Denver, that we're seeing in New England. They have to get the quarterback situation figured out, but we've talked about that till we've been green in the face. But they can use these resources in this cap space to build a sustainable contender. There's no reason not to at this point. And if they're not in the playoffs in 2 years, then Darren Mooney should probably be fired, right? Because you have all of this capital, all of this cap space. It's time to put it to use.
All right, man. You said you're my friend. You said you're the supporter and things of that nature, which means you got to shoot me straight when I ask you something, pal. It's an important part of a relationship. Okay, The Jets are 3-11. They play this Jets Saints game, which we'll get into later. And if they lose, it'll help them with the tank and all this other jazz. Okay. But the Jets haven't made the playoffs in 15 years. Okay? It's been ugly. And they've only really sort of been close once, maybe twice, if you want to go way back 15 years ago when they were in that Jets-Giants Victor Cruz game that they lost. That's dating myself a bit. So it's been a long time. How attractive are the Jets going to be, Matt Lombardo, to all these free agents that are coming in? Sure, the Jets have money, but is money enough to overcompensate for all the losing? Because I would imagine free agents want to go to championship teams, have chances to win Super Bowls, Matt Lombardo.
Yeah, it's funny because I was asked this in my mailbag column that's on Between the Hash Marks right now, and I asked 2 or 3 different agents that's that question. How attractive are the Jets? How much of an uphill battle is it for Darren Moogie and for Aaron Glenn? And the answers that came back to me were, for a veteran who hasn't won a Super Bowl yet, it matters more than for any other free agent player, because there are guys who are going to want to be chasing rings. But the agent that I spoke to who gave me that quote couched it with money can change that. So if you want to overpay for a guy or pay slightly over market value to guarantee that you get him, these players aren't going to eliminate the Jets from their consideration to take less money elsewhere unless it's a surefire potential possibility to win a Super Bowl, like in a Philadelphia, in a New England right now, in a Denver, those sort of places, the Rams. Those are the only teams that I could think off the top of my head where players would take less money than the Jets would offer to go play there. And a second agent told me that even though they haven't won in a long time, that presents an opportunity. So you might be hitting free agency. You might have the opportunity to start and become the face of a franchise type of a player. So it's not like the Jets are going to need to bend over backwards to make themselves look like a more attractive situation than anywhere else. They have the money to let the money do the talking. It's the same thing with the Patriots. It's the same thing with the Broncos. It's the same thing going into last season, the Washington Commanders. These teams had been down, not contending for half a decade, right? And
Sure.
In the span of one offseason, the Commanders go to the NFC Championship game. It wasn't sustainable, obviously, with the age and the injuries and Jaden Daniels getting hurt. In the span of 2 off seasons, the Patriots and the Broncos draft their QBs. They build around them, and they're going to be the top 2 seeds in the AFC. So it can happen, and the Jets are built and equipped to make that happen.
By the way, I want to give a quick shout out. Earlier, I mentioned that MFC gifted a Boy Green Coffee Club membership that went to celebrity Roy Romano, the brother of Ray Romano, I assume. Wow. So, Roy Romano, welcome to the Boy Green Coffee Club, buddy. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss you and give you that shout out. Shout out to MFC for that one. Jet fans, I still see it in the comment section. I try to multitask in this role as the host of the show, scanning the comments, see if there's anything I missed or some breaking news in the middle of all the questions I've prepared. And there is a consistent pocket of Jet fans who are like, yeah, Paul Fernando Mendoza, yeah, Paul Dante Moore last night. It could be this, it could be this. But what about Joe Burrow? What about Joe Burrow? What about Joe Burrow? And then Adam Schefter reveals that before that 2020 NFL draft, the Dolphins offered 4 first-round picks to the Bengals to move up, and the Bengals didn't even entertain it. They hung up the phone. They didn't even go back and forth where maybe they could have gotten even more out of the Miami Dolphins. So Joe Burrow is back in the news with all this hoopla going on. Again, Matt Lombardo, it's about shooting straight. This is a trust fall. I'm falling into your arms, and I need you to catch me, okay? Even if it hurts. Even if you, kind of catch me last second. Because there are still some Jet fans that believe Joe Burrow could be a possibility this offseason. That maybe with picks and money and all this stuff that they can make something happen. Matt, shoot it straight. Is the Joe Burrow possibility a possibility that he could be moved to the Jets or, quite frankly, anywhere?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you what I was told from an executive of a quarterback needy team that I spoke to on Thursday.
Okay.
3 words.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely 0 chance.
All right.
I hate to tell you. There's just no chance the Bengals are moving on. Just to kind of do a little legwork, I spoke to a general manager, and he told me that he had not heard anyone inside the league discussing the possibility that Cincinnati would move off of Joe Burrow. I think that it's a pipe dream for Jets fans, but I'm not saying to wake up from the dream necessarily. Because if I asked that same executive last March if Micah Parsons would get traded by the Dallas Cowboys, I'm sure he would have had a fairly similar answer, right? Absolutely not. The Cowboys aren't going to trade Micah Parsons. Strange things happen. Franchises and teams do strange things. And when you dangle 5 first-round picks at the Cincinnati Bengals, it might become a conversation starter just based on the fact of Joe Burrow seeming just so emotionally worn down by that situation, so checked out, so beaten down by the injuries and the Bengals' inability to build an offensive line in front of him. Who knows, right? I don't think it's going to happen. Clearly, the executives I spoke to don't believe that the Bengals are going to move on from Burrow. But strange things happen in the NFL all the time. So I'm going to say it's a 0.001% chance that they trade Joe Burrow. I'm actually of the belief that, unfortunately, I think it's a higher percentage that Joe Burrow follows Andrew Luck's footsteps to an early retirement than it is that he gets moved.
Well, I appreciate the honesty, and also I appreciate you saying, so there's a chance? So we'll keep an eye on that during the offseason. Again, we're speaking with our NFL insider, Matt Lombardo, here. I am Boy Green, where you got Boy Green Daily going on. We're going to talk some Jets Saints in a little bit, but we're talking all the news, rumors, analysis, everything that's happening around this team. And Matt Lombardo has a special link in the YouTube description down below for Between the Hash Marks of the Holiday Season. Matt, why don't you tell us about that real quick?
Yeah, in the spirit of giving, in the spirit of the holidays, running a promotion over Between the Hash Marks. If you purchase a gift subscription, if you enjoy the commentary, if you think there's a Jets fan in your life who might want to climb in for all the Jets coverage that's coming in the offseason, whether it's an annual gift, whether it's a monthly gift, if you give a gift, that person will get their gift subscription. I'm going to give you a year free. I'm going to give you 12 months on the house. Welcome into the club. If you're already a subscriber to Between the Hash Marks and you give a gift subscription, I'm extending your subscription 12 months. So
Wow.
just a way to give a gift to the football fan in your life and get a little something in return as well.
Oh, well, that's cool. Again, the holiday season. Matt Lombardo, we need to find out what else is in that Santa sack of yours over there at the Lombardo household. That sounds like a lot of gifts. Well, okay, maybe you have a gift for me here. Here, Matt, I want you to put on your GM cap. Okay, pop that. I'm normally the guy wearing hats around here, but you know what? Put on the GM cap, and I want you to do this. You say that, Jets, hey, money talks, and that can be attractive. I want you to give me a name, okay? I want you to Arya Stark this. I want you to give me a name for Jet fans to marinate on, a player that is going to be a free agent this year, that if the Jets added them to the team, it could make an impact for the New York Jets. Give me a free agent. Come on, take me there, Matt Lombardo. Help me out.
I'm going to a familiar name. I'm going to a former Jet. I'm going to defensive tackle John Franklin Myers. That's where I'm going here, because I think that he's a guy that is well connected within that locker room that you could bring in as a leadership type of voice, who's coming off of 2 of the best seasons of his career in a defense that swarms to the quarterback, that's on pace to have one of the most sack seasons in the NFL. You could begin to rebuild the sack exchange 2.0 around John Franklin Myers in the middle of that defense. Look, the Broncos have a chance to make a deep playoff run. They have the chance with Bo Nix, if they continue to open up that offense with the way they're playing defense, the Broncos have the chance to make a run at a Super Bowl. And if that happens, I think there's a parallel to, you look at Milton Williams last offseason, wins a Super Bowl with the Eagles, gets his ring, and then gets paid by the New England Patriots. Top of market contract, becomes a centerpiece of that defensive rebuild. Look, John Franklin Myers, if they win the Super Bowl and he has a big part in that and he has a big playoff run, he could probably write a blank check just about anywhere. The Jets are equipped to write that blank check. They should go make that reunion happen.
Wow, I love it. And it's funny, I bring up Nick Folk earlier, right? A guy who spent a 7-year chunk of his career with the New York Jets. Then he goes to other pastures, and then full circle, a few years later, he comes back. JFM gets traded when the Jets make that terrible decision by Joe Douglas, but hopefully you guys are enjoying him there in Philadelphia land, somewhere in that front office. And JFM leaves via trade, and then he's gone for a couple of years, and then the chance to come back, the Jets defensive line could certainly use him. So that would be magnificent. So I like it. That's exactly what I was hoping for. Matt Lombardo with some JFM love. That's for freaking sure. So let's hope that can happen. And for those who missed it earlier this offseason, or not offseason, excuse me, earlier this season, there's been some flirtation between JFM and his former Jets teammates that flirted and said, hey, we'd want you back. And he was sort of commenting back and forth. So never say never, baby. It's certainly possible. And real quick, going back to that Joe Burrow thing for a second, because I see we have a super chat coming in. Thank you, NC Green, for this. Much appreciated. Let's hear from my daughter, Zariah Luna.
Wow.
Not many players in the NFL have this, Matt Lombardo, but NC Green says Joe Burrow has a full no trade clause, not coming here. And I would imagine let's play in the sandbox. Okay. If the Bengals ever reached a position where they were going to trade Joe Burrow, I would assume that everyone and their mother would be interested. So they'd have no shortage of suitors.
Right.
Why would they keep him in the AFC? They could pick whatever NFC
Correct.
team they want and send him over there. I get it. It might be about the best offer, and it doesn't matter where that comes from within reason. He's definitely not. He's at a bare minimum never going inside the AFC North in terms of direct trade. The overall AFC, it also seems unlikely because, again, everyone and their mother you would think would be interested here. But am I weighing too much into that on the AFC thing, or is that a real thing?
I think that you're weighing too much into the possibility of Joe Burrow being traded. I just don't see this happening, right? I mean, again, strange things happen, and he could be just so fed up with the offensive line situation, so fed up with their inability to build a defense that, that maybe he wants out. I just don't see it. And from the Bengals standpoint, if Joe Burrow goes and requests a trade and says that he's going to waive his full no trade clause, I think that they would just be so happy to send him anywhere they can get the best offer. Because, look, they didn't just commit to Joe Burrow. They committed over $150 million fully guaranteed to both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So they did everything that they thought that they could to prop up, support Joe Burrow, give him everything he needs. And if he turns around and requests a trade, then I think all bets are off in terms of how this situation plays out. But I just don't think it's a realistic or even reasonable possibility that he gets traded. Now, I do think it's interesting that Adam Schefter dropped that report from 5 years ago. Why was that seed planted? I don't know if that was from the Bengals front office, tired of these comments by Burrow in the press conferences. I don't know if it was Burrow, somebody in the Burrow circle of friends leaking that information, but that kind of had my antennae raise up a little bit that maybe this isn't as set in stone as I think that it is.
By the way, thanks for the super chat, NC Green. Let's dive into that, Matt, because I love when we have an opportunity to do this, right? So Adam Schefter drops this Adam Schefter 5-year bomb that apparently hadn't expired and threw it out there that, hey, did you know the Dolphins back in the 2020 draft, again, the year is 2025, but back in the 2020 draft, they offered 4 first-round picks. Bengals said no, but they did offer it. So bring me back, and Matt, you're an insider, okay? Adam Schefter's an insider. Like, fans don't understand what that could mean. Like, there could be other meanings. It could be coming from multiple camps. Can you explain, like, what sort of goes through a head and that relationship and, like, what's happening? Is Adam Schefter getting his back scratched by something to release this information? Because obviously he has the pulse of, like, 10 million people at least on Twitter and many more in the world. So, like, there is some power with what he tweets and what he says,
For sure. It could be coming from anywhere. It could be coming from Brian Flores, who is doing, some image rehab going into a hiring cycle. I don't get the sense that he was all in on Tua. I think that Tua was foisted on Brian Flores. So it could be from the Flores camp, who wants that nugget of information out there as validation of him as a talent evaluator, head coach, roster builder. It could be coming from the Cincinnati Bengals, who want to send a message to Joe Burrow that, hey, we love you so much, we didn't take 4 first-round picks, instead of drafting you. It could be coming from Burrow, who just wanted it out there. This is how valuable that I am. But these stories, there's always a source, and a lot of times the source has a motive. I mean, there's been examples in my career when I've broken a major story, and it came from a position group that was being alienated by the current head coach, and it wound up happening. But there was a reason why that seed was planted. There was a reason why that message wanted to be out there publicly. So this is just a really interesting one to have it come out now when you're hearing these whispers of a potential Joe Burrow trade. And all of a sudden we're finding out that the Dolphins turned down 4 first-round picks for the right to draft him. It's just very interesting, the timing, and that's all I'll say.
Yeah, let me throw one more out here, and feel free to punt on this if you don't want to, just because we're swimming in these waters. It's just interesting to me. You insiders in the business, Benjamin Albright, who I've been friendly with for many years. I used to on the radio call him an NFL insider, and in my crazy intros, and then he went, "Oh, I want to stop you right there." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And we have been doing this for years, and it was like, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago he says this to me. He's like, I'm not an insider. I'm like, "Oh, geez, so I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to misrepresent." He says, "I'm an information broker." And he just explained how there's just this trading of information in the league. He says, my back gets scratched doing this, their back gets scratched doing this. And it's sort of this symbiotic relationship. And so ever since, I've always called him information broker. It's like an inside wink at him every time that he said it. So I go back to this. Is there ever a time where you have an opportunity to do this and you wouldn't plant said seed? So obviously this was, it seems like, I don't want to, force it, but it seems like Schefter got a seed from someone, and he planted it, and now there's a lot of buzz conversation happening. Would there ever be a point where you are offered a seed and you choose not to plant it for whatever reason? You're like, nah, actually, I'm good. I know you want me to do this, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I think that going back to the Albright point, I think that comes down to the relationships you have with the people involved, if that makes sense. Like if it's a longtime source who I've known, and this is something that's not going to completely damage somebody else, I'd probably do it. But if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, player X is doing thing Y," and I know that it would damage, and I have no way to back that up on one source, and I know that it would damage somebody who's been good to me, I might pocket that and say, you know what? And I've seen this happen to other reporters when I was on the beat, that, I had an agent come to me and tell me when something blew up when I was on the Eagles beat that I didn't report, but somebody else did, that person traded one news cycle from an entire relationship. And that stuck with me, that I don't think that I'm ever going to want to be the guy who leads SportsCenter with a story at the expense of someone who feeds me information consistently. I'm not going to trade one news cycle for a relationship's worth of years of nuggets and pieces of information and access and all of those things.
Yeah. Let me just make sure I make this perfectly clear. I'm no insider, and I don't think I ever will be, but for the people that do it, God bless. But there was a chance. It was somewhere over the last 5 years, I will say, where I had a chance to break a story. Now, I don't know if it would have led SportsCenter, but it would have been on the ticker, the information I had. But I only had one thing. But the source was the source. The source I knew was right. But I'm like, and then I just weighed what you just said in my head, but I had never done it before. So I'm glad I made the decision. Even if I was frustrated in the moment, I was sitting on something that was Jets related. I'm like, oh my God, if I say this, it's going to blow the bleep up. It's going to be huge. But the source I was speaking with didn't want me to say it yet. And I'm like, come on, please. And then so I didn't get the chance to say it. And someone else broke the story and it crushed me. I'm like, oh, I had it right here. And the source that gave me the info said, don't do it yet. And then someone else broke it. And then I've confirmed the report that's been confirmed by 30 people. So now it doesn't matter. I've lost the thunder, but I wanted to because I thought it would be great. And I almost did. I almost just said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to drop this. People are going to be like, wow, Paul has all this cool info. Look at this cool guy. But I didn't do it. And I was frustrated in the moment. Like I was annoyed. Like, man, I could have had this story. But now that like years have gone by, I'm like, damn, it's good that I have that relationship. It hasn't resulted in anything. I haven't gone back to it to do anything with it, but I'm glad that I have it in case something does in the future.
And that happened to me. It happened to me 2 weeks ago where
Oh,
someone
wow.
said, "Hey, I just need to confirm this with my client before you put it out there. You'll be the first to know." And I have the threads posting drafts. I'm writing up an article on Substack. It's ready to go, waiting for confirmation, and I see it reported elsewhere. So you kind of have to weigh that. And my advice to myself that I didn't follow in that moment, and my advice to you is, next time, pick up the phone and call me, and we'll see if it's worth sitting on, and I'll
Mm.
like let you know. But
Oh,
the
cool.
advice that I had from an editor when I was a beat reporter for the Eagles and later the Giants at NJ.com and the Star Ledger, if you don't write it, you're going to read it. That was the advice from my editor, and that was kind of our creed back then. And so, yeah, if you don't write it, you're going to read it elsewhere, and that's a risk that
Mm.
it's in your head sometimes based on what the source is and what the story is. But yeah, I
Mm.
sympathize with your experience there. It
Yeah.
happens to the best of us.
Yeah, that's a real Debbie Downer. Before we get out of here, of course, let's get a little bit of Jet Saints in now. You can tell me whether or not you think they're going to win this game, because this, to me, is the most winnable game left for the Jets on the schedule. Because up next, they're at home against the New England Patriots. The week after that, it's the final game in the Buffalo Bills building before they shut it down and they're going to move across the street. And they don't look like they're going to win the AFC, so no home playoff games will happen there. So those two teams seem intrinsically motivated for everything that's going to come up. The Saints are the easier of those three, but not completely easy. They've won 2 in a row and 3 of 5 against some quality opponents inside their own division. Both teams are 7-7 heading into this weekend. So again, Matt, it's been the punchline joke I keep going back to like a comedian. You got to shoot it to be straight here, but Jets Saints. Is this going to be a game that could go either way? Are the Saints clearly going to win this and the Jets are going to lose out the rest of the season? What's happening here, Matt?
I think it's going to be a competitive game. I think it could go either way. I mean, you look at Tyler Shook, and I love what he did last week, leading them back before getting hurt in overtime. I think the Saints have found a little bit of a rhythm. I think they might have found their quarterback, but he's still a second round rookie, and rookie quarterbacks are prone to making mistakes. It's going to be an interesting game. I don't think it's a blowout either way. I'm interested to see if these receivers for the Jets keep taking some steps. Adonai Mitchell, John Mechie, to me, these last few games are evaluating what do I need to focus my offseason resources into. And AD Mitchell seems to keep checking some boxes. Maybe you don't need to prioritize wide receiver as much as you anticipated 2 months ago.
Did the Jets get an interception today? Steve Wilkes was fired earlier this week. Chris Harris is stepping in. If the Jets don't have an interception today, they'll be the only team in NFL history that has gone. They're already the only NFL team in NFL history that started the first 14 games of the season without a pick. But to have what will be 15 consecutive games of it happening would be an NFL record that we've never seen before. Do the Jets get their first pick of the season today?
I think one of two things happens. The Jets win a close one, or the Jets get an interception and lose by 10 points. It's one of the two. I think it's just one of those. That's my fortune telling prophecy of what I see happening today. So pick your poison. What do you want to root for? You want the win or you want the pick? I don't think you get both.
I guess not. Although the pick could get you the pick, maybe a higher pick in the NFL draft, perhaps, which we'll have to keep an eye on. Matt, we're 4 days from Christmas. I know we do all kinds of other work together beyond this show. So happy holidays. If we don't interact before then, I'm sure we will. But just in case, happy holidays, pal, and Merry Christmas to you and yours.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays to you and your beautiful family, Paul, to everyone in the coffee club. It's a great treat to come in and speak with the people every week. I enjoy it. It's the gift that keeps on giving. And a Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and Happy New Year to everybody out there.
There he is, Matt Lombardo. Again, there's a special link in the YouTube description down below where you guys can gift a Between the Hash Marks subscription, and you yourself will get 12 months of Between the Hash Marks. So support our supporters, baby. It's been great to have Matt Lombardo on the program all year long. So thank you to Matt. And by the way, he will continue to join us in the off season, but won't be every Sunday. It'll be every other Sunday once we get to the off season. And as he's at the tentpole events, Matt Lombardo is going to be at the Senior Bowl. He's going to be at the Combine. He's going to be at all these big events, and he'll be able to give us the latest Jet scoopage from those events, which is going to be pretty cool. So a big shout out to Matt Lombardo. I see you guys have questions. Dante Moore questions, draft questions, Jets, Saints, Nick Folk now with his future up in the air. We will open the phone lines here on a game day episode of Boy Green Daily. We have over 200 people in the room, which we appreciate. 100 of those 200 are watching on YouTube right now. Make sure you guys hit that like button on your screen. That is the free way to contribute to this show. And by the way, we do raffles every single month on this channel. It's time to highlight our raffle because we had a couple of memberships flowing in, which I very much appreciate. So thank you, everyone that's either bought a membership so far or gifted a membership. Get those raffle tickets in. We only have a couple days left. A True Jet, our Nick Mango tribute shirt, is in this month's raffle. We'll give that away on January 1st. We have a Jet Santa Funko Pop, baby. That's in the raffle. We have our Boy Green Woody tailgate package. That's part of the raffle. All of those terrific prizes will be gifted on January 1st. If you, out in the audience, want a chance to win all those fabulous prizes, all you have to do is spend $3 on the channel somewhere through the final couple of days here of December. If you do so, you'll have a chance to win. There are no limits to how many raffle tickets you guys can have. So good luck to everyone out there in the universe. We'll take a quick phone timeout, and we'll be back. Folks, we have 6 hours of live streaming today. We're on right now for this pregame show. We'll be on for the watch party. That's at 12:50, 10 minutes before the Jets kick off against the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. We'll be here for a live watch party and play-by-play analysis. Then following the game, we'll jump over to the post-game show, also here on this YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/BoyGreen25. Hep timeout. More after this.
1, 2, 3. Whoa! Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking Jets football, man. All right. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. Everyone, J-E-T-S, Jets. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking Jets football, man. All right. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Yeah. Nice. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. J-E-T-S, Jets. Let's go!
Let's go, everybody. Everything's on the table. We can talk Jets Saints. Jets have a path to the number 1 overall pick. There's the Dante Moore stuff from last night. We're going to see Indiana and Fernando Mendoza next week for the college football playoffs as we get past the first round here of the CFP. So Jets Saints, draft, Nick Folk's future, all is on the table here. If you'd like to call in, it's a pinned comment on youtube.com/BoyGreen25. You want to get your participation trophy here on the show. Without further ado, let's jump over to the phone lines. We'll start it off with Hep.
Hey guys, hey Paul. I just want to talk a little bit outside the box. I know instead of the Fernando talk, maybe a little something different.
Sure, okay.
One is we pick up Caleb Downs at 5, and then at 18 we pick up Ty Simpson, and then next year we draft another quarterback. That's one scenario. The next scenario is we let Moore fall to us, and then we pick up Love at 18, the running back from Notre Dame.
Ooh, Jeremiah Love. Oh, baby. Well, as a Notre Dame Golden Domer, that would excite me greatly because he is just, and for people that just haven't seen him this year, and again, it is a damn shame for both my father and for college football fans. So you're not seeing Jeremiah Love in the college football playoff because it's such a spotlight, and so many more people would be introduced to him if they don't know of him. He was a Heisman finalist. I mean, he is a freaking unbelievably talented. Like, look at the Lions over there with Jahmyr Gibbs, and you may catch some initial flack for taking a running back in the first round. Then you see what Jahmyr Gibbs doing on a week-to-week basis. Like, okay, I guess I'm okay with that. Like, man, Jeremiah Love is a freak. So I like that strategy. It's interesting. And, man, you see Dante Moore last night, and you go, hey, why wouldn't he enter the draft? This is supposed to be a weak quarterback class, so he could go super high. Why the hell wouldn't he? So that would benefit the Jets, regardless of whether in our audience you're a Dante Moore fan or a Fernando fan. Them both being in it is good for business because if the Jets continue to lose, and again, they're projected to do so, they're an underdog against the Saints, they're an underdog against the Patriots, they're an underdog against Bills. Upsets happen, but that's what they're projected to be. To have two quarterbacks in there and the Jets have a top 3 pick, I like that math that somewhere, some form or fashion, they could get one of these two guys that are high quality. And even to your point, there's all these different combinations where the Giants did that a couple years ago, or had the opportunity to. The Browns have had, I'm thinking of these teams that have had multiple first-round picks in the past. Like the Browns did Trent Richardson, that didn't work out, and Brandon Whedon, that was disgusting. The Giants had Daniel Jones, and they had the 17th overall pick. That name's escaping me of who they ended up going with on that second first-round pick. That could have been Evan Ingram. But the point is that they've had like these combos where you could do one or the other. So I'm intrigued. The Caleb Downs thing, and it's not even Caleb Downs' fault. These Jet fans are so burned by the Jamal Adams thing, even though Jamal Adams was good for us, that taking a safety that high. But with our safety sucking, maybe that's something we should entertain.
Well, I heard he's the skinny I got on him was he's probably one of the best players in the draft coming out.
Yeah, that's what they say. Mm-hmm.
And anyway, that's just thinking outside the box. I'll see you on the rebound later on today.
Love it. Thank you, Hap. Yeah, it's good thoughts because, again, Ty Simpson, who some people were on the train, then off the train, then on the train again. And I imagine after the Alabama comeback against Oklahoma that a lot more people are back on the train for Ty. I'm open to a lot of different options. If I'm the New York Jets, I'm totally open to a lot of different options. And the more options you're open to, the more flexibility, obviously, you're going to have in the draft. If you are square peg, round hole for one guy and you don't get that guy, then the whole thing sort of collapses there. So, yes, interesting strategies. And I hope throughout the rest of the season and offseason, we continue to explore those. So, Hep, good stuff there. Caleb Downs, Ty Simpson, Dante Moore, Jeremiah Love. All right. Okay. You've intrigued me, Hep. And in case you're just joining us here, some sad news this morning. We'll see if it's sad or not. According to Rich Zamini, Nick Folk, our place kicker, who's 41 years old, is pondering retirement. I doubt that's going to happen at the end of the season if he suddenly decided he's going to retire. I don't think he suddenly, like today, he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm not kicking today. That's not who Nick Folk is. But just the fact that it's on his mind, he's 41, and he's going to talk it over with his family to decide what he's going to do. And that seems to lead some understanding, because on Friday the Jets worked out 4 kickers, a punter, and a long snapper. I'm like, what the hell? Why are they working out these guys? Because McNamara, he's under contract for the season. He's under contract for next season. Then he's an ERFA, which is what that means is an exclusive rights free agent. And that's a fancy term for just saying he's going to be under cheap control for an additional year after that. So he's basically under contract through 2027. Thomas Hennessy, our longest tenured player on the team, by the way, our long snapper, just recently signed a 4-year deal for like $5.9 million. So he's under contract through 2028. I don't think he's a free agent until 2028, 2029. So he's under contract. So maybe the Jets are just doing some exploratory homework just in case on these guys. If suddenly... if suddenly someone drops dead, I guess they have someone on the emergency list. I guess that's probably the only reason. Let's get some comments in here. NC Green says we should have never let Folk go. Yeah, looking at the Nick Folk career arc. Okay, let me pull it up here on the bio. He's 41 years of age. He started off his career with the Dallas Cowboys. He was a 6th-round pick of the Cowboys, 178th overall. He spent 3 seasons there. Then he came over to the Jets. He was there for 7 seasons. And they started bouncing around. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 2018, he sat out of football. I don't remember for the life of me what happened in 2018. Oh, he just got cut, and then he just never got a chance. So the Buccaneers cut him in 2018, and he just didn't play football in 2018. And then the next season, he played for the Arizona Hotshots, playing for an alternative football league, then came back with the Patriots from 2019 to 2022, initiate gag reflex. That is with the Titans the last 2 years, and then with the Jets. Yeah, I would have loved to see Folk Hero stay here at the Jets. I would have loved to. That's too bad. Yeah, it would have been cool for Folk Hero to stay. Jesse, let me see. Yes, Jesse Owen here on our YouTube channel. Thank you, Jesse. Breece Hall is one of our best players, and according to Rich Zamini, the Jets want to re-sign him. But here's the question for me, Okay, so Brees Hall has had one of the worst yards per carry averages over the last 3 games. Is it because of the Jets' substandard quarterback play? Is it Brees Hall falling off a cliff? The reason for his fall off is interesting to me. Like, why is that happening? Because he looked like a sure lock to get 1,000 yards rushing. He was on pace for a 1,200-yard rushing season. But with his recent level of play, he's 100 yards away, and he's got 3 games to do it. I mean, if Brees Hall can't get 1,000 yards now, I don't know when he's going to get it at 1,000 yards. MFC says, Brees is also a gamer. I don't think anyone shows more effort than him. Yeah, I would probably agree with that. There's been a few moments where you're like, but no, for the most part, he's 100% a fighter, which I like. And because you didn't trade him, I would imagine you should do everything in your power to keep him, at least for 2026. Could be franchise tag, play him this year, and then you let him walk in 2027, I guess. That could be possible. Shout out to Kyle Hamilton. I know Green Bean was a massive Kyle Hamilton fan coming out of Notre Dame. So Kyle Hamilton love in the chat. Very nice. Incel Alon says, would rather draft Love at 5, but not a safety. Yeah, Jeremiah Love. Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if a world existed where Jeremiah Love was available at 18. A lot of the draft folks, and again, nothing's official yet. We haven't had combine, pro days, college all-star events, so it's hard to say with any certainty that Jeremiah Love is clearly a top 10 pick or clearly top 15 or he's top 20. Like, it's too early in the process for that. But if he's there at 18 for the Jets, and I think the Colts pick is actually going to end up being higher than 18, but let's just say he's there at 18. Boy, would I be tempted. Even if you bring back Brees Hall, unless you sign him to a long-term deal, that could be intriguing. Braylon Allen's coming off a serious injury. Isaiah Davis has been okay. Nothing to write home about, but, he's been all right. He's not a bum, but he's intriguing. There's like sort of some traits there. But Jeremiah Love, as a Notre Dame fan, again, that would be tantalizing. But yeah, that's the one fear with Caleb Love. And again, it's not his fault. I feel bad that this is our thought process, right? But we are slaves. We are enemies to the machine, and the machine is. We just had Jamal Adams 8 years ago. That's just had 8 years ago. Makes us feel old. And Jamal Adams was an all-pro for us, and that was cool. And then we traded him for a bunch of picks. I'm curious how this regime feels about taking a safety that high. I'm not saying they are or aren't. I'm just saying to explore the possibility openly. I am curious how they feel about that because Brian Branch was highly thought of. Kirby Joseph was highly thought of. How much of a play did Aaron Glenn have with some of that decision-making is interesting to me. So, yeah, Caleb Love is an interesting case study for debates. Dave Briga, college playoffs are a joke. Tulane, JMU, they have to be kidding. I'm not a Notre Dame fan, but they got jobbed. I believe, so I agree that Notre Dame got jobbed, number one. Number two, I don't think you can point. That's not, if you're going to say they were jobbed, I don't think it's 11 and 12 seeds. Tulane and JMU, James Madison is why you're saying they got jobbed, because I believe they had their own direct pass anyway. It's more so if you think they were jobbed. It's the Miami element and it's Alabama. Those are the teams that Notre Dame was competing with. They weren't competing with Tulane and James Madison. They were competing with Alabama and Miami. Those are the ones to get frustrated with. Now, credit to Alabama, Miami. They both won, right? If they immediately went out like a song, that's where you could get some like criticism of like, oh, look, you brought these teams in over Notre Dame and they lost, but both teams won. So salutes to Alabama and Miami. Albeit barely, but still counts. Let's go back to the phone lines. We need to go to our resident OC. That's Easy. He joins here on the show. What's up, Easy? Good morning. Easy? Easy? Oh, no. Easy.
I'm going off the rails on a Mozzie train. There you go.
Damn. Easy's call dropped out. All right. Well, that was fun while it lasted. Easy, feel free to give it another call. I don't know what's going on with your signal. Wrong verb. Funny. If we lose Brees Hall, who we get to run into our offensive lineman? Wrong verb. That's funny. You're a funny guy. Comedian. That's hilarious. Let's go. Edna mode _ my God, you've gotten fat. The Incredibles. Nice. Okay, that's a very unique YouTube handle. Caleb Downs can literally play 4 positions in the secondary. Adams played strong safety, was too slow otherwise. Fair enough. Like I said, I told you guys it was an unfair comparison to make. I'm just saying positionally, right? It's going to say safety on the box score. That doesn't mean it's a safety. So Caleb Downs, again, when you have a chance to get one of the best players in the draft, that's exciting. Quarterback is even more exciting, but let's go to Jettastic. Great YouTube name as well. Brees Hall is like Will McDonald. He shows up one game, then he's nowhere to be found for the next 6. Yeah, Brees Hall has had 3 100-plus yard rushing games this season. He's had a few of those games, the big pops in terms of the screen game, which have been tantalizing, but there has been a lot of MIA. Will McDonald's had much more MIA this season than Brees has, but I'd also say this. It's also like when the flame is bright, it is bright. Will McDonald had a 4-sack game this season, for Pete's sake. That's record making. Not many Jets players have done that in history. I believe only 2 players have done that. I believe there's Mark Gastineau and I think John Abraham. I know it was Gastineau. John Abraham, I'm less certain about, but I think it was John Abraham was the other one, and then Will McDonald. That's the list. Gastineau actually did that twice. Jesse Owen, who gets 1,200 yards when there's no passing game. If he ends up getting it, he was on pace for that. He's no longer on pace for that, unfortunately. But we'll see. Brees Hall could get back up there if he has some crazy games. Against the Patriots at Week 18 game a couple years ago, he had like 160 yards rushing. He's only 100 yards away from getting 1,000, so technically he could get that. It could get that against New Orleans today. We'll see. Yeah. Let me keep going through your comments. Oh, MSC said that was sarcasm. Not always easily interpreted over text. By me. The sarcasm on love. Fair enough. NC Green. Would be nice to have one of those guys that could kick those 65-yarders. Right, Nick Folk at his age. He did kick a career long this season that I was there for in Week 5. The Jets didn't score a lot of points that day, but Nick Folk scored a 58-yarder, the longest of his career. But it would be cool to have those 65-yard kickers, right? Cam Little in Jacksonville, Brandon Aubrey in Dallas have a weapon like that. But I won't have too much envy in my heart because Nick Folk's been awesome this year. While, sure, 65 yards would be cool. But, I mean, Nick Folk's just been so elite this season. I'm not going to have anything to say about him. NC Green says Kyle Pitts is a free agent but could get tagged. Kyle Pitts would be interesting. I wonder how the Jets feel. So Mason Taylor, the good news earlier this week, we did a show about it. He has the neck issue, but he should be back next week, which is blessed be he. They did re-sign Jeremy Ruckert, but that doesn't prevent you from getting another weapon. It'd be good to get another dynamic receiving weapon at tight end. But I wonder how they sort of envision it. Is it a Mason and whoever that guy is combo platter? Like, how would they sort of perceive that? Because obviously you invested a premium resource in Mason. He was the 42nd overall pick in the draft. I love Kyle Pitts. I think he's super talented. Fed him on my fantasy team this year, so trying to win some fantasy championships. Kyle, help us do that. Let me read some more of your comments here. NC Green says Joe Burrow won't waive his no-trade clause unless he likes the team he's going to. That's probably true, but I think the offensive line is probably a big piece, which is net plus for the Jets. Kuiper also said we'd be in the Super Bowl if we drafted Kyle Pitts. Well, I can't believe he got drafted before Jamar Chase, though. That's pretty crazy. Jesse, we should have moved Becton to center, much cheaper than Linderbaum. I know some people... What's the right way to put this? Underrate what centers bring to. I wanted to make sure I said that appropriately. There are fans out in the audience that don't think centers should be paid a lot of money, and that you could just they're sort of not a dime a dozen, but that you could get away with just whatever center play, and you don't have to pay up for it. Again, the highest paid center in football right now is Creed Humphrey. He makes $18 million per season. Tyler Linderbaum has a very unique path to getting to free agency. Normally, players, and again, I'll probably try to set up a Linderbaum show this week because it's an interesting debate and conversation to have. But Linderbaum has a unique path to free agency. Normally, players as good as Linderbaum do not make it to free agency, especially at his age. But it's a very unique situation, which we'll get into later this week. And with his unique position, how good he is, and people getting overpaid in free agency, there is a chance he could become the new highest paid center in football. But by how much? Creed Humphrey is the highest at $18 million. How much is the market going to be reset for Tyler? 90, 20, 21, 22 per year? I mean, I don't know. It's a good question. I'm intrigued by the Linderbaum option. I won't lie. Ooh, interesting. Incel Lon says Kuiper has Dante Moore as his number one prospect in the draft. Again, hey, let's have conversations, man. We've all been Fernando, but maybe Dante Moore, right? A lot of Jet fans fear. We're talking about the tanking and what could happen. The Jets do have a path to the number one overall pick, but two teams to fear are Cleveland and Las Vegas. And excuse me, what if Las Vegas or Cleveland, if you're only competing with one of them, maybe they like Dante Moore and you could get Fernando or vice versa. So that's another possibility to think about. Sure. Again, also, I mentioned this earlier, but because the Cowboys were eliminated from the playoffs yesterday by virtue of the Eagles' win, the way that the Cowboys could have made the playoffs is if the Eagles lost all their games remaining this season and the Cowboys won all their games, Cowboys could have made the playoffs as the NFC East champ. That officially was eliminated last night with the Eagles winning the NFC East themselves, which means that the Jets are guaranteed to have a top 50 pick. Let me throw this back up on the board here. The Jets are guaranteed to have a top 50 pick. Okay, right now that Cowboys pick is 46 overall, and it could get even higher potentially. We'll see what happens here. Cowboys play the Chargers this weekend. But with the Cowboys out, the Jets guarantee have a top 50 pick. So a nice little trade there by the Jets. That is paying off very nicely. Not everyone is on the JFM train. Our buddy Ted says, let's not overpay for JFM. Jake Klein says, JFM got paid here and sucked. Nobody seems to remember that. I don't think JFM sucked. I think a lot of Jet fans think that his tenure is overrated here. So, like, JFM was here, he played whatever he played, and he left. And some Jet fans think the stories that are being told about JFM are like, wow, you're totally overrating what he was with the Jets. I've heard Jet fans complain about other Jet fans doing that. I don't know. What I like about JFM is he is a leader. He is versatile, can play defensive tackle, can play defensive end. His teammates seem to really like him. He does provide some pass rush juice. He is killing it for the Denver Broncos. I like JFM. That's a nice call by Matt Lombardo. I would love that reunion. That'd be great on the defensive line. Fox Sports Talk says would like us to target Isaiah Likely, tight end of the Ravens in free agency, and the Ravens just re-signed Mark Andrews to a 3-year deal, so maybe there is a path to Isaiah Likely hitting the open market and testing out his market. He'd be a fun. That's exactly what I think the doctor ordered in terms of who's the right tight end to sort of combine with the group the Jets already have. Likely as a receiving threat makes a lot of sense. So I'm curious what would be the money for Isaiah in free agency, but I am fascinated by it. E-zone coverage. Center is the third most important position on the line. A good one can take a lot off a young quarterback's plate with checks for blocking schemes and reading a defense. The center position is critically important. I'm assuming the tackles, left and right tackle, are higher on E-zone coverage's bingo card. But yeah, center is super important. They make all the protection calls. Snapping the football, like if you're a shitty snapper, that's not good for business. That's for sure. Ricky New York Live. BG, centers like running backs. If you have a special one, you pay him. Also, Kuiper couldn't evaluate a good player if they lived together. Oh, I will say this. I know Mel Kiper is a polarizing figure. The reason why I love the draft as much as I love the draft is because of the godfather of the draft, Mel Kiper. I know a lot of people don't care for his evaluations. They don't care for his yelling. They don't care for this. They don't care for that. I bend the knee to Mel Kiper. Absolutely, unequivocally, I bend the knee. This guy's the GOAT. This guy's a legend. I love that he graces our ESPN airwaves. I vary on the draft. Some years I watch NFL Network. Some years I watch ESPN. But I always love tuning in for Kuiper. So I know he is polarizing. The hair is polarizing. I just love Kuiper, man. He's a big reason I'm such a massive draft fan. Like in Survivor, I don't know if this analogy or comparison is going to hit people, but Jeff Probst is a host of Survivor. He's been the host for 25 years. I'm just sort of a loyalist guy. Like some people want him to get removed. I like Jeff Probst. Mel Kiper, some people want him to get removed. I love Mel Kiper. I hope he keeps doing the draft until I'm dead. I love Mel Kiper. But I know some people don't care for his evaluations. But I love the work that he puts in and his fellow love for pumpkin pie, too. Fox Sports Talk. Let's pray the Colts lose the remaining games. Folks, I don't feel like we have to do any voodoo doll stuff for this. There's some teams this season that could help the Jets from a tanking perspective if they lost, but we have to like poke a voodoo doll because it's unlikely. The Colts losing their games is very likely. Here are the remaining games for the Colts. They host the San Francisco 49ers. They host the Jaguars. They're on the road against Houston. I think they're going to get their ass kicked by San Francisco. They're going to get their ass kicked by Jacksonville, and they're going to get their ass kicked by Houston. So I think they lose out. That's what I think is going to happen. But we'll see what happens out there in the universe for sure. We definitely will. That is true. I can't lie about that. JFM was a walking personal foul penalty, but he was a beast and leader. MFC. Yeah, the fouls were just unbelievable in some big moments. Easy always brings up that one where Michael Carter, the second had a pick six against the Patriots. We would have went up like 17-6 or something. They call it back as a JFM roughing the passer penalty, and then everything went to shit after that. Dave Briga here. I just take Kuiper with the greatest salt. Everyone has their mocks. That's true. There's a lot of mock drafts out there in the universe. East zone coverage. I don't know why they'd waste money on a third tight end when they don't even use the ones they got. I think that shitty quarterback play is a big reason for that. Yo, Holmes, who in the hell is Mel? I wish I had that clip just ready to go to moment's notice. That was awesome. Who in the hell is my postman? Has as much draft experience as Mel Kiper. Ah, God, that's one of the greatest lines ever. Well, folks, we're going to do this. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to have so much coverage today. We're going to have our live watch party and play-by-play analysis that's coming up at 12:50. I'm about to go take my family out in the middle of the snowstorm out there. I'm going to go take my family out to the diner. We haven't been out to the diner. That's normally our weekly tradition. Maybe that can help the Jets today. Go out to the diner and get some nice food with the family, and then be ready for all the Jets coverage, the articles, the podcast, the live play-by-play. We're going to be doing all of that here on the show. Again, I want to thank you guys for supporting the show. Make sure you guys like the video here on YouTube. That is a free way to support the show if you do care for me. If you don't care for me, I don't mind a hate like there. So feel free to hate like if you guys would like as well. A lot of Jet Saints stuff today. And Demario Davis, we haven't talked much about him this week, but a big salute to Demario Davis, one of my favorite Jets who unfortunately has been spending a lot of time on the New Orleans Saints, naturally, which is too bad. But hey, we got to give love where we can. So we will be back at 12:50, folks. Mark down your calendars. It is a Jets game day, baby. So let's go. And appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care. Go Jets.